guys, what's going on? It is Russ Ruffino. Today we have an incredible interview for you guys. We're going to be talking to probably the foremost high-ticket sales experts on the planet when it comes to how do you enroll high-ticket clients over the phone or over Zoom. We've got the dynamic duo here. These two are the very first people that I know of that were really teaching how to do this stuff at a very, very deep level. So we go way back all the way to the kind of early days of high ticket enrollments. And like every other video on this channel, guys, it's all about teaching you what I've learned from scaling our company to $100 million in revenue. So if you're a coach, consultant, expert, author, speaker, you want to learn about high ticket sales, smash that like and subscribe button. And please join me in welcoming Leela and Gulliver. What's going on, you guys? How are you?
Hi.
Hey. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So good to see you guys. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Been some time.
It's been some time. All right. So why don't you guys just introduce what's going on in the business right now? What are you guys teaching, and just give everyone a quick intro into your awesomeness and how you guys work when it comes to high ticket sales.
Do you want to hit it, G? You hit it.
I think the last time I physically was in a room with Russ was at a Frank Kern mastermind, I think. Was it 2012 or 11 or something? It was a long time ago.
It was like 2012. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think that was the one where everyone tried to go surfing afterward.
Yes.
And remember, six people got hit by stingrays. Remember that?
I'm Australian. I know what that is. No.
Oh,
yeah, I was just thinking about that because my family, we were just in La Jolla on that same beach 2 days ago. And I was telling Sarah, I was like, man, last time I was here, 8 people got stung by stingrays at the Frank Kern event.
Shit got all Steve Irwin. Yeah. No, we went to the hotel as wise people, and we sat with Gerald and drank heavily for the entire
Nice. Yeah, that was smart. That was very smart.
In business. But yeah, so that's a lot of time to kind of catch up. But it's not like we haven't chatted in between. But I guess we started off there, kind of coming to learn at the feet of Dan Kennedy and Frank Kern. We spent a lot of time traveling to America, and no one was really talking, or there were very few people talking about sales. Most of it was let's do internet marketing and we'll never have to make sales again. And that kind of sounded like it to me. And it kind of it was a really great time. So for a while there, we were the only company in Australia doing lead generation and sales as the same kind of company. There was no one really doing that. So over that period of time, we grew, and as you said, we kind of gained a little bit of a reputation in that space. And then just before COVID, we had the big facility, and we had the training center, and the $250,000 a year of outgoings that come with that. And we thought to ourselves, this is fine, but we're coming up on the end of our commercial lease here. And what if we just took this money and bought property with it instead and actually became wealthy? So we did that, and then COVID came. So we kind of dodged a $750,000 bullet there, which is cool. And during that period of time, we realized that everybody was screwed because yourself, you've been in the trenches with a lot of small businesses and a lot of large businesses, and a lot of them don't do marketing. A lot of them don't do sales calls. A lot of them don't have a written down system of how to, take a lead from the internet, call it, and turn it into a $50,000 sale or whatever it might be. And we knew that was a thing in the coaching industry. What we discovered was it was a really, really big thing in traditional businesses. So a lot of our efforts over COVID went into kind of creating software and systems and AI to help larger companies manage remote workforces, working from home, having, sales, KPI tracking, and that kind of stuff. And then we kind of went through a situation where we had a number of legacy clients who'd gotten divorced, lost their will to run their companies, and Leela went on an acquisition bender and started buying companies. So that's been crazy. I think Leela had a client, for a while, who then went down the road and went full into e-com, and went and worked with other people. And we discovered this client was suffering. They'd had a bad relationship issue. They hadn't been doing well in their business, and she purchased their business, which was I guess the largest witch box e-commerce business in the That's a thing.
Who doesn't have 2-3 witch boxes in their house?
At its height, it was doing over like $1 million. So like it was like $1 million business at its height. And by the time I got to it, COVID, you know what happened to everybody with supply chain, and
Right.
it was just a nightmare. And particularly, I mean, we're in Melbourne as well, right? So like we had the worst of the lockdowns anywhere in the world.
For sure.
And she just like, it just destroyed the business. So I mean, I bought the whole thing off her for $4,000. So
Wow.
it was, and that was getting her out of trouble, you know, so she was really pleased. So we did that acquisition, and then we've done another acquisition this year as well, with, again, another client who was just, you know, kind of did our stuff, and then it happens, went away from doing our stuff, and similarly had a whole bunch of stuff go on in their personal lives and the business. And we've just, we purchased that in April as well. So a couple of significant acquisitions over the last couple of years.
So yeah, between the witch business and the bookstore and the wellness, the women's wellness business, we kind of collected this like pieces of a puzzle, which all of them feed the same mission, which is all around, you know, what Leela's doing now is working with women at the highest level, you know, coaching them through their issues around their businesses. But all of these different businesses all had people on their lists. All of these businesses had Instagram profiles. Like we've gone from having a $20,000 person B2B list to having like over 100,000 combined on all these different portals. So it's kind of like for the 20 grand or 30 grand you spent on them, the amount of reach that's given us.
15 grand. 15 grand.
I'm thinking about the rehab on the boxes, yeah, but yeah. So like you kind of like you kind of grown this kind of behemoth all of a sudden, and all of a sudden now we're getting television opportunities and media opportunities. She's become seen as a sort of a spokesperson on that topic. We had to fly up to Sydney the other day to do a thing on television, which was around, you know, spiritualism and witchcraft. And now some people, journalists, are seeking her out. There's another mob that wants to know more about, you know, that life, which is, it's huge right now in Australia. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing in America, but women are really returning to that. So that's kind of what Leela's been up to, and she's doing some incredible stuff in that space, because we've got that reach that we sort of didn't have.
Wow. So are you guys primarily focused on your acquisitions? Are you guys still doing like sales training or?
Yeah, because like why not run 3 businesses? So yes, we still do. So like I primarily run the spiritual business and the wellness business I've been taking care of, but Gulliver's still training. I mean, I don't think Gulliver could stop training high ticket sales if he wanted to, right? Like even if we weren't, and there have been times, especially like Gulliver said, during 2020, 2021, we were going and working with way larger, like $50 million, $100 million businesses. And even then we've been in the market for a long time. People know who we are. People come knocking, right? So even if we weren't actively going after it, people are coming and saying, hey, you know, Gulliver, you're the best at this. How do I do more with you? So like that's always a thing. And it will always be a thing. I think we both love, as much as these businesses for me are a lot of fun. And it's been fun for me to go and work in the consumer space after 20 years in B2B. Like consumer is such a different creature, and it's so comparatively easy. B2B, look, there's not as much profit, or like there's a lot of revenue, not as much profit, right? But it's so easy and fun. Like you put something up and people respond. Like you've got to work in B2B. It's hard to get response. It's hard to get, and particularly, you know, ads changes and platform changes. Like it is harder and harder. And I mean, the amount of people who flooded into the market in 2020, 2021. You know, I heard somebody say the other day, and I think it's a really solid point, that we are in a super low trust environment right now. Because we've gone from that point, right, where the 3 of us lived the same life, where there was a time where we're like, right, so we have this course, but you don't come to it in person. You watch videos on the internet. And people were like, whoa, I can watch videos on the internet. Oh, this is how old we are. Now we live in a world where everybody's bought a shitty course from somebody. And they're like in this scenario where they're like, oh no, but I've done online courses and they're terrible. I've taken coaching and it's terrible. So we're now in this environment where we have to demonstrate trust and we have to demonstrate trustworthiness. And, you know, I think you look at, you know, the launch Hormozi just did, and he's like a masterclass in how people are doing that right now. Like very impressive, using basic Frank Kern principles, right? And just like
Yeah.
sitting there watching it, just going, it's results in advance, it's build trust and credibility. It's like all of those really, he didn't do anything for that $100 million launch. He didn't do anything outside of the world of like classic Kennedy, Abraham, Kern marketing,
Yeah.
but he did it really well at an incredibly high level. And that's what you're seeing there, right? Like it's nothing new, it's nothing different, but just done very, very well.
Everything old is new again, right? Like it's all come back around, which is exciting, I think, Russ, because what we're finding is there's a lot of old clients coming back. There's a lot of people in our business coming back who want to start a second chapter and realize that all of the bullshit that's been sold over the last 15 years does not beat pick up the phone and talk to someone and be a human being. They've realized that like, no amount of automation, no amount of fucking bullshit is going to make people feel trust. And I think what Leela's done really well with the acquisitions is, there's one thing to say that you're successful on the internet and be one of the billion dudes screaming about how successful they are. There's another thing to demonstrate it, you know? I think that's what's working really well, is like the gross, vulgar display of power that is seeing Leela being able to put 3,500 people in an event, seeing the footage of literally hundreds of women pouring through the door, seeing that, like it's very difficult to argue with that. It's very difficult to say, I've got an 8-figure business, even though on LinkedIn my last job was fry chef at McDonald's or whatever. Like separating yourself out from that noise, you know, there's an art to that, obviously. So like I think like you if you don't have 20 years in business and hundreds of millions of dollars in success like Russ or like Leela, how do you distinguish yourself from the mess? How do you shine out? That's the single biggest thing, and it's always been the thing of like, how do you stand out? How do you articulate your message to your client? How do you have them see you as uniquely better and standing out? Like that's still the secret, right? The secret. But no one wants to do the fucking work on that part, and no one wants to go on the phone and talk to people. So you still have a massive advantage if you're prepared to do those things, as Alex has demonstrated.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that, especially in the online like marketing and online coaching space, we're just in a massive trust recession. So when we first started out, I mean, and I would say for like the first 8 or 9 years, it was us, it was Taki, it was Sam, it was Traffic and Funnels. I mean, there was like maybe 6 or 7 guys doing this, and all of their programs were like decent, you know? So I might talk to someone who said, hey, you know, I did Traffic and Funnels program, and to be honest, like, you know, it wasn't that great, or I didn't click with them or whatever, but they didn't feel cheated.
Yes.
We're talking to people on the calls now who straight up got burned.
Right?
Like I dropped 40 grand
100%.
on this coaching program and there was no coaching program.
The stuff I've seen is just like, it does my head in, right? Because like, again, we all came up through, you know, like those Kennedy and Kern programs, and we, from a structural point of view, we utilized the same thing, right? So we understood there needs to be a process behind what we're teaching. We put events in place. We did this stuff. And now people are selling like $40,000 programs that are be in my energy. And there's there's like no content. There's not even when they say be in my energy, there's not even live events in it. It's just like come on a call occasionally and hang out with me. Like it's mind blowing to me. But this is the problem, right? I mean, look, it's a problem. The problem is always the opportunity. The problem is everyone now has bought all of this nonsense, right? And so we're in a trust recession. We're in an incredibly low trust environment. And when you add everything around the world politically and financially happening, that just drives it even more, right? Like people and also, I also think nobody's actually recovered from COVID. We all went through massive cortisol and adrenaline spikes, and then we just went back to life as though it was normal. So there's also like a lot of people's inability to emotionally regulate at the moment is like massive, right? Like you're seeing the blow-ups that happen online, and so much worse. And I've been the center of a few of those in my day, but like the blow-ups now that are happening are so much worse and so much more intense because people just don't have this ability to emotionally regulate. And so you have all of this stuff going on. So that's the problem side. I mean, the opportunity is that the barrier to being good right now is so low. It's so low. Like if you do a half decent job, you are ahead of 90% of people. If you've got some idea of what you're talking about, if you have some process behind it, if you actually care about delivering value to your clients, yeah, it's going to take a bit more work to get them to see that you're not like everybody else screaming on the internet. But once you've got them, the ability to maintain them and keep them in a lot longer is there, because people are, and then as well, when that happens, right, as you grow that, people start talking as well. There's always that kind of magic tipping point within any business where you start to get a reputation for being very good at what you do, and then people just start coming to you. So I feel like that's the opportunity right now. Is like there's never been a time where being good at what you do was such a commodity, such a limited like in limited supply, you know. So like I think it's an opportunity as well as a problem.
I agree, and I think that what's going to happen, here's my prediction, is that in the next 2 to 3 years, there's going to be such a massive proliferation of AI generated content that people are really going to feel like they're going to be grasping for any real human that they can trust and that they can put their faith in. 100%. I think maybe 5 years from now, that's going to flip, where it's like you're going to only want to talk to AI because it's going to have like godlike intelligence, and it's just going to be like way smarter than you and infinitely patient. It's like, why would you ever want to talk to a real person? But I think for like the next 5 years at least, you know, this is the time to show up and genuinely lead and genuinely serve your audience. You know, analyzing the tactics of what Alex just did with his launch, you know, again, it's like boilerplate online marketing stuff that people have been doing for years. He just executed it very well, but there was like a 4-year buildup that went into that.
This is the bit people are missing. Everybody wants to.
This is the part people don't want to do.
Right, I'm nuts about this. I'm yelling at everybody about it. Everybody wants to deconstruct the launch. It's not the launch.
Not at all.
4 years he spent selling nothing, giving everything for free. The amount of money, I mean, everybody's kind of yelling about, oh, they spent $4 million on ads. And I'm like, yeah, but you tell me how much they spent over 4 years on content creation between Alex's time and Leila's time as well. Alex's time, Leila's time, the level of production they're doing, like all of the stuff they did in the lead up, where that money came from was 4 years of consistent content. It was being on the biggest podcast, getting in front of the biggest places. Like that is what led to the 100 million. It wasn't the launch. It wasn't the launch.
No, it was the trust that he built up.
Exactly, right? And I think it's so interesting to me because I see so much. It's really interesting to watch. It makes me feel mildly old because I've seen this cycle multiple times now, right? So there's a cycle when people come into the industry. So they come in, they're gung-ho, they're like, all right, let's like generate some leads and get on the phone and talk to people. And then because they're terrible at sales, they end up in this situation where they're like, well, I'm tired of talking to tire kickers and I don't want to do this and blah, blah, blah. And so then they start in that slide of like, how do I get out of sales, right? Rather than getting better at sales, they just go into, well, how do I get out of having to do sales? And it's like, all right, well, that's not a great idea. But now you're seeing this kind of thing, well, on my Facebook feed anyway, where I see the ads, right? I see a lot of people being like, don't give your stuff away for free because that just gets tire kickers, charge you $27 and blah, 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 right? Like classic digital marketer funnel stuff. But also, right, like I'm not saying there's no argument for $27 products, but replacing all of your free content with that is like Alex just proved why that is not the play, right? Frank Kern, results in advance. Feed them everything for free. Just give them everything. And then when you're putting and I also think there's some interesting stuff there in terms of how they productized and things like that, like doing a $30 book and then a $6,000 package, like an interesting kind of mix of stuff. But then what you're selling, like people almost feel obliged at that point to spend $30 on your book because they've spent 4 years watching your content for free. The level of reciprocity there is through the roof. You've given them everything. And now they're like, well, wait, how am I not going to buy a $30 book from you? Yeah, like it just, yes, but this is it. It was the 4 years in the lead up. It was the content strategy in the lead up. They could have sold just about anything and made a ton of money because of the amount of time and effort they've put into building trust with their audience.
Yeah. So what we're finding at Clients on Demand is that we're still able to very, very rapidly create trust and connection, especially in markets that are less jaded. So like my client, Becky, is a perfect example. She's if she was my only client, I would still, I would still love what I do, right? So
Yeah.
she's got this offer where she works with dyslexic children and gets them reading from like the bottom 10% of their class to the top 10% of their class. In markets like that, or like my client Ezra, he's got one where he works with business owners with ADHD and basically helps them turn their ADHD into a superpower. So once you get outside of sales training, online marketing training, ads training, and that sort of thing, people are a lot more receptive to this, where both of them are driving people from cold traffic into like a 30 to 40 minute webinar that's totally automated, and then getting people on the phone and then closing them. So just like super old school, you know, that stuff still works if you do it if you execute it well. You can still create enough trust in that 30 to 40 minute time span to facilitate a $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 sale. So I think it is a little bit market dependent. We're just like, you know, $100 million offers came out. All these 20-year-olds were like, yeah, let's create an irresistible offer.
Totally.
With no thought whatsoever to whether they could actually fulfill on what they were promising.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Look,
They did a couple $100,000 in sales. They went out of business, and they left all these like broken people in their wake. You know, and they're now like,
and you're right, right?
The
Like,
OGs have to pick up the pieces.
That's exactly our experience too. Like in these other companies we're running, like it's the witchcraft business is just funny to me, because I do like such a minimal amount of internet marketing and they go nuts because nobody, like everybody who exists in that space currently, like they're little makers. Do you know what I mean? They're not people with digital marketing backgrounds. They're little witches who are into witchcraft, like bless them, right? But there's nobody in the space, like other than me now, doing like serious like internet marketing to these guys. And they haven't seen it before. They've just never seen it. And so when you do something like a webinar, they're like, what is this? And you get like 1 million signups and an 80% turn up rate. And they're just like, you know, it's crazy. I did a speaking tour at the start of the year, and I barely did much. And I did Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. I only did like $25 a ticket because it was just like a little 3-hour thing. I did 120 people in each state, literally just off Instagram Reels with a little bit of advertising spend behind it. And the turn up rate in each city was like 80%, which for an event at $25 is almost unheard of, right? Like I was so interested to see what was going to happen with that, because we all know cheap events, typically your turn up rate goes like through the floor. Almost everybody turned up. My closure rate at the back of the end, I was selling a 3-day event, was like 20 to 30% per room. It was just nuts because they haven't seen this before. So they're not jaded about it. They're just like, oh, you're doing an event. I'll come. Oh, you're telling me about another event. I'll buy that as well. Like it's crazy how simple it is. And I think it's something that's really underrated at the moment is, you know what I find the funniest about it? I have spent 20 years hearing from people, oh, it's easy for you guys because you sell sales and everybody wants to buy money. And it's like, you don't, do you know how easy
people are terrified of money?
Sales
is way harder. It is way harder.
way harder. You have these little things, these little consumer products, and people just buy this stuff. Like, it is so nuts to me because it's just, I've heard this forever. Like, it's easy for you. No, it's not. This is, and I think especially the way we sell it, you sell it, right? Which is that we don't just sell, like, press a button on the internet and make $1 million. We sell, you're actually going to have to do some work. Like, here is the actual way to make real money, which means engaging with the process, doing some stuff, and actually following through. And that's where most people just fall apart.
This is the thing. You hear that shit thrown around a lot. Like the coaches that coach coaches, gurus that coach gurus. And, like, I've always railed against that because I'm a coach who coaches coaches and I make money and I help people. But I think the thing is, coaches who coach coaches who actually have value is becoming rarer and rarer and rarer. And there's a lot of coaches who coach coaches who were working at McDonald's last week who've never really delivered shit. Like you said, they've launched a high ticket offer and then not delivered on it, and they're just pissing in the pool, really, like all of them. Like we've got to all swim in this pool together, and they're pissing in it. So I think the answer is to get out of the pissy pool and go and find a really, really, really undiscovered area where you can rock it, or several of them, like you said. Like if you're in a niche where they're not jaded to shit, they're not burned out on internet marketing, they're not in the mainstream of the internet marketing high ticket closing bullshit. They're looking for actual answers. It's like Frank used to talk about this. His favorite clients are like, he goes to a company and says, right, so We're going to send these people an email.
We're going to get their email address, and then we're going to
Yeah, you're gonna send them an email.
offer.
Whoa!
Those
are the
businesses
great
still
ones.
exist. They're still out there.
They really are, and there's so many of them. But people aren't going after that. They're selling to their buddy who's also just as desperate and fucked up as they are, and blah 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 blah. And it is a bit incestuous, and it is a bit of a circle jerk.
I don't know.
So, yeah,
My take, you know what I hate about the coaches who train coaches to be other coaches? I'm like, yeah, like, you know, if you go to university to become a teacher, you're going to become, like, there'll be teachers who teach teachers to be teachers, because who else is going to train a teacher to teach? Do doctors train doctors to be doctors? Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yeah, who are you going to learn how to do
Who else
something
is gonna do
other
it?
than the person who's done it? Like, it's just, but why is it like it's a thing in coaching, but in any other space, it's like, fine. It's just, yeah.
Well, I think people just like to hate, and I think that, but I think that what you guys said brings up a really interesting point about competition, because you would think, well, there's got to be a lot of reading coaches out there. There's got to be millions of reading coaches out there. So, like, how is Becky able to do it? Or like our most successful clients ever are Megan Alford, who actually in Australia, and they have a marriage coaching program, and they're just crushing it with the marriage coaching program, right? So you would think to yourself, well, damn, there's so many marriage and family therapists. There's so many couples counselors. There's like, this must be a totally saturated market. And what I try to tell my clients is like, it doesn't matter how many total people are in that market. It matters how many elite marketers are in that market.
Right.
So like if you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you go to a jiu-jitsu tournament and there's 10,000 guys there, but you're the only black belt and everyone else is a white belt, you're winning that tournament. But if you go to another one, there's 100 guys there, but they're all black belts, you're gonna have a way tougher time. So it really just depends how many elite marketers are in your space, not how many total people are in your space. Because like they say, marketers ruin everything. Like the more of them are in there.
It's true. As a marketer, I agree fully.
Absolutely. All right, so Gulliver, then let me ask you this, man, because, you know, we could go out there, we could find a blue ocean, you know, you guys have acquired a couple businesses, right? But at the end of the day, I know that teaching sales is in your DNA. It's what you live for, man. Like, you're amazing at it, right? So, and I teach, you know, marketing, we teach sales, our strategy of doing that as well. What are you doing, or what are you having to change about your approach to counter this massive trust deficit that seems to be in play in our market? Right? Because you're not just going to stop teaching sales is what you do. So how are you adapting then to the fact that there's so many people in our niche that have just been horribly, horribly burned by all the shenanigans?
Okay. So we went through a period of a few years where I went after bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger companies and did like $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 consulting gigs with these large guys.
More like corporate consulting, you mean?
I mean, not even really. Like, we're talking... Small to medium enterprise in Australia is defined between 1 million and 25, and most of the guys I was speaking to are between 5 and 25. They were larger, but most of the people we deal with in the coaching industry are, you know, struggling to get from 100,000 to 1 million, right?
Right.
There's not a lot of people like Russ Ruffino out there who've cracked that $10 million mark and are crushing it. Like, most of them are struggling, right? So most of my work is taking these dudes from like 50 grand to 100 to 200 to 500 to 1 million over a period of a year or so. But anyway, we digress. My point being, I built a barrier up between me and the average business person, and that barrier was made of money, because I forgot something really valuable, and I forgot that I love people. I forgot that I genuinely, my superpower isn't even sales, it's giving a shit about people and their lives. So that, you know, like I guess I built a wall to shield me from dealing with people that didn't appreciate what I was doing for them, because I got burned out on that industry, right? Like, that dudes who would come and do your shit and then steal it and sell it to other people as if it was theirs, and like it just after a while it just broke me, and it hurts, you know, like when people don't appreciate what you do. Like, I like money and I like sales, but I like being appreciated for what I do. That's my kryptonite. Like, you tell me I'm doing a good job and I'll follow you to hell and back.
You're nailing this interview, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Good. Yeah. Let's talk more later.
Did you see how that worked? Did you see how, like, he didn't even realize, and it totally worked?
And he's, thank you.
No, like I'm a Labrador Retriever. I'm like Mr. Peanut Butter in BoJack Horseman.
You really
I just want to be told I'm a good boy. And you don't always get that in business, right?
No.
So I kind of built a bit of a wall and kind of hunkered down behind all of these big clients. And then I realized that like what actually works, well, for me anyway, is like reconnecting with and deeply caring about and finding the time and the space to really invest in loving your clients and trying to help them. So tactically, there's a bunch of things I'll talk about, but like I think starting at the start emotionally, spiritually, where you're selling from is massive. Like if you're selling from, I can hate anything and I'm going to charge so much money that this person doesn't buy from me because I don't really want to do it and I'm burned out on it, you're going to get a very different business experience than I love people and I love every single client, every new prospect I talk to, I'm going to find something to love about them. I'm going to find something to care about them. I'm going to find a way to add value to them and to really dig deep with them and to figure out what it is that they're really trying to accomplish. I'm going to make them feel seen and heard and cared about. That is the most killer sales tactic ever. And that's
let's stay with that. Let's stay with that for a minute, man. Because I think that's absolutely critical. So just a couple quick things that came to mind while you were saying that. Like number one, I absolutely get where you're coming from when you talk about like the bitterness. We had people, you know, I had one client that was in our highest level mastermind, like completely rip off our program, like our handouts, and just like literally, I don't know, put like construction paper over our logo and then stamped their logo on it and then like scanned the PDF. I was like, you didn't even change the handout. And it's like, it's so easy to get bitter when you're, you know, you deal with people pirating your programs, you deal with haters, you know, sometimes you deal with lawsuits. I mean, like just, you know, it's business. So shit happens, you know? But it is so easy to just get bitter and jaded. And then you start subconsciously pushing people away who need your help because you are just afraid of getting hurt again. I can definitely relate to that. And then I'll echo on what you just said, man. You know, I'm known as a webinar guy, right? Which is weird because really what we do is I'll create one webinar and automate it and run that webinar for like 5 years. So it's not like we do like tons of webinars, right? Like we create one webinar. I mean, like the clients I told you about, like Meg and Alfred, you know, they're running this massive, multiple 8-figure business now. And they're still using like the same webinar that we made for them like 6 years ago. Like, it's like, so we create one webinar and then we just milk it, right?
Yeah.
But what I started doing a couple months ago, man, is we started doing live webinars again, and we were charging like $27 for them, getting people on the webinar, and I'm just hanging out with these people delivering value for like 3 hours. And I swear to God, I felt so alive doing these things, man.
Yeah.
And it takes
you just like reconnect with the joy of just helping people, like helping them figure out their offer, helping them figure out their positioning. And for the longest time, I was like, dude, I don't want to do live webinars. F that. Let me just automate it. But I'm telling you, like, you're absolutely right, man, that being in the zone and being in the vibe and just helping people win, it's like, it just fills you up in a way that, you know, having some super optimized automated funnel, it's like, it's going to fill your bank account. Yeah. But there's no substitute for just hanging out with the people that need your help and just delivering the value, man. So
this is also
100% with you. I'm 100% with you.
And what you're hitting here is also the answer to the existential threat that is AI for everybody in a knowledge-based business. Right?
Yes.
Because like literally everyone, and we're facing this in the consulting side of stuff, but the fitness business that I have, I mean, you can go onto ChatGPT right now and get a macro plan and get like a fitness workout plan and it actually be relatively good. So why are people spending, you know, our programs are $3,500 for 6 months. Why are people spending money on that if they can just use ChatGPT, right? And this is where the answers come from. The answers come from community. The answers come from, but you can only build community if you actually give it, right?
Yes.
It doesn't, these brands that are talking about community and trying to build communities are and doing it from a cynical place, are failing at it because what builds community is actually caring. Gulliver and I, God, in like 2011, 2012, we would get on Friday night, we'd get a bottle of wine and we'd start a live stream and we'd sit there for like 6 hours on a live stream and just talk to people. This was back when you just put something on, there was only Facebook and you just put something on Facebook and 1 million people turned up, right? But like, we'd sit there and we would just live stream and we'd play music and we'd like answer people's business questions and we'd get stupid drunk on a Friday night talking to them, and people loved it, and it like bonded people to us in a way that, you know, like a piece of content was never going to do, because it was real people hanging out, being real people together. And those are the things that is how we all beat AI, right? That is how we do it. It's going to be less and less about the content you're creating, because people are going to be able to get that elsewhere. It still needs to, look, the content being good is just the price of entry, right? Like, good content is just the price of entry. To keep people in programs and to keep that stuff, you need to, A, care about people, but B, start building real community and actually like doing that by caring and creating opportunities for people to come together.
And I think we forget
100%.
that at our peril. Like, we forget caring, and like, you'll get lost in money and status and who's doing what on Instagram today, and, you know, haters and competitors and bitterness. And we get lost in that at our absolute fucking peril, because people don't care about that. They care about whether you care about them. And if you don't have that basic thing, I think that's what's missing for a lot of people. And like, you're right, rediscovering that joy and that passion, if you're not selling from that place, you're in trouble. You know, you're in trouble. Yeah. So I think that's definitely the biggest thing is really having the person on the other end of that phone call or that webinar or whatever it might be, that event, feeling seen and understood. When I teach sales, like, you know, there's several pieces of my sales process, but what I really teach my guys is, hey, where they buy from you is not at the end when you reveal the offer, and it's not after you've handled their objections. It's in the first part of the sale, when you actually make them feel like you're enthusiastic about them, you care about them, you understand their dream, you understand their pain, you understand what they're going through. That bit is a lost art. And what you see so many people out there doing is they'll get on the phone, they'll be like, hey, tell me your biggest problem. Great, we can solve that. Join my program. Like it's not a proper consultative sales process where we're actually discovering people's problems, caring about them, identifying them, workshopping them, solving them, giving them a breakthrough. We're not doing the work on that in sales, and we're just going straight for offer. And that's why everyone hates sales calls, because they think a sales call is, here's my fucking offer, here's my fucking offer, here's my fucking offer. Where it shouldn't be. It should be like a lot of caring about them, and then making sure that you can solve their problem, and then making an offer. And it seems to be a lost art. It seems to be like everyone's forgotten what actually works, because everyone's trying to automate their way out of doing it. You know, I saw an ad on LinkedIn the other day saying how to cold DM like a pro. And this is a product that people buy to stop them having nervousness about sending a cold DM. Like, I grew up dialing the A to K and the L to Z.
Yes.
And like, dudes are like terrified to send a message. We're becoming more and more insulated against actual human connection, intimacy, and engagement. And it is the end. It's the opposite of humanity. It's the end of the world if we can't do better than that.
But it's also the opportunity.
We don't deserve the $100,000 sale. We don't deserve the $30,000 sale. We don't deserve anything if we're just trying to find the easiest way to spam as many people on the internet, you know? So everything old is new again.
So, all right. So then tactically, you know, how has your actual sales syntax and sales process evolved over the years? I'll tell you what I'm doing right now, man. I'm literally trying to pull up my notes from 10 years ago. I'm going to find it too.
Do you want to hear something really awful?
Yeah. It hasn't.
It hasn't.
Yeah. It hasn't. Yeah.
The jokes are the same. The script is the same. The same stuff I gave you, the same stuff I gave everyone still works out of the box. It's like an M1 Garand, you know, like that thing worked in World War II.
Point at what you want, you pull the trigger and you're good.
Yeah, you know, like, you know, but I think like for me, I get people who've come to me like, you know, and they're like, yeah, but you don't understand. My business is different. You know, like
I hear that all the time, and it's like, no, it's not.
And as a marketer, like, no, it's not. You need to get clear on who your niche is. You need to get clear on what the message is. You need to drive traffic to that message. You need to put them through a process that breaks down their objections, and you need to get them to the door to buy something. And the sales process is going to take them through them. Get the intro and break the ice with them. Do a probe that outlines their emotional, big picture needs and their technical problems. And then you need to give them a breakthrough about why those things don't work properly for them in their business. And then if you can compel them that, like, hey, look at the cost of what you're doing wrong, maybe we could fix that, there's an offer. it's not rocket surgery. It's just people won't fucking do it. We created a 9-day event where we literally locked people in a house, and on day 1 of Saturday, we forced them to get clear on their offer. And on day 2, we forced them to write out their sales offer. And then all the way through the week, we forced them to make phone calls because we got so frustrated that people wouldn't do it.
Literally stand over with them with sticks and be like, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then people like make $1 million in that week, and people, oh my God, how did you do that? It's like,
what are you selling? People
we actually talked to people. We actually ran marketing and called people. It hasn't
That's
changed.
amazing. I found my notes. By the way. The sales demon. You're in the grip of the sales demon when there's no money in your bank account. You don't care about the people you're talking to, and you're not invested in what you're doing. In other words, if you're just in it for the money, it's probably not something you should be doing with your life. Like, such good stuff.
This is like bread and butter. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess tactically, what's changed is, all right, the offering has changed. The offering.
Okay, talk about that.
Right. So like the sales process is the sales process. It's genius. I'm a god. Whatever. Right. But
yes, darling, you are correct.
I feel really uncomfortable with that. But what I would say was like that. I'm offering a lot more. When you joined my stuff, like you bought the Crown of Commander, whatever it is, I gave you the templates, I gave you the videos, I said, off you go. And if you want help, hit me back and run your script past me, we'll role play it. I think I deliver a lot more now in that I actually write their script with them, for them, put it on the sales system.
Yeah, we do that too.
Do it. So like I take a lot more. I think I probably compensate for the absolute lack of value in the marketplace by just adding so much value and making it so easy for them.
And I feel like this is such an interesting point because everybody's out there screaming about scalability, right? Everybody's like, but that's not scalable. You got to be scalable. Why do I have to be scalable? Like if people have this weird idea in their head about what scalability looks like at what point is your business big enough? At what point do you have like enough? Is it just like scale into infinity? Because like that's not possible. You can't have 100% market share. The market's not that big. Yeah, like it's this nuts idea about scalability and about just building big and big and big and big. I mean, going back to the Hormozi thing, bless them, but I do not want to run that business. That is a behemoth of a business, and like, bless them, they do an amazing job doing it, but that is my idea of hell, right? I like having a really small amount of staff, being nimble, being able to make things work really quickly, making really good profit, because like as the business gets bigger, it doesn't necessarily get more profitable. We've all played that game. Like this scalability thing is like and people are focused on it way too early as well, right?
Yeah.
Is that people are like, but it's got to be scalable. 100 grand, scalability is not your problem. You need to be worried about value. You need to be worried about building a reputation in your marketplace. Like you need to be worried about like the baseline stuff. Yeah. Even at $1 million, scalability is not your issue, right? Like there's a point where maybe if you want to do that, okay. But everybody's obsessed with this scalability thing and like, well, I'm not going to help somebody with their script because it's not scalable. All right, cool. But also then you're not building the reputation and momentum in the marketplace to get to a point where you ever could scale.
Well, you cannot like just give I can't give someone a video about how to do a kick-ass webinar and they just run with it and then go create something that's as good. I mean, like, look, Russell Brunson put his whole recipe, the whole perfect, that's his thing, but it's like his whole perfect webinar formula is in that book, Expert Secrets, right? Now, how many people are taking that and going out there and doing $1 million webinars? Like zero. Because there's a skill set that's attached to it. There's a level of intuition and finesse. So we do the same thing, Gulliver. Like when people join our sales training, I get on Zoom with them one-on-one and I'm like, let's rewrite this shit because it's just, you followed the instructions, but there's the magic just isn't there. And we gotta rework it, man. Yeah. You know?
And this is what happens, I think, when you're dedicated to actually doing a good job over like what is scalable, what makes the most money, the fastest, right? It's like my highest value, and and I've been through these cycles, and we built a larger business and had a lot of staff and had the big office and did all of that. And I just wasn't happy because I didn't feel like I was getting to do good work. I felt like my whole life was eaten alive by managing staff and managing doing the CEO stuff. And I actually I love entrepreneurs. I have always said, I believe that entrepreneurs, not governments, change the world. I believe in entrepreneurship as a force for solving most of the threats that we're facing right now. Climate change, all of these different kind of issues are going to be solved by entrepreneurs. I love working with business people with expansive mindsets. It's such a, it feeds me. Management and admin makes me want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's we've gone to the big thing and we've gone to the smaller thing, and, somewhere in the middle has turned into the right thing for us because we want to be able to be super hands-on with our clients. You see this all the time, right? With the guys who take the program and it gets really big and they put a bunch of coaches in place and they do all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden it goes from being this program that everybody loves to people talking shit about it. And look, some of that is haters being haters, but you can see when it's the quality dropped because the person stepped out to do the management side of things and all of a sudden they're not delivering at the same level.
Absolutely. And that is so common. You have to set the intention that as we scale the business, the service delivery is going to get better, not stay the same, not get worse, but it's actually going to get better. And what do we have to do to make that happen? Yeah. So Gulliver, okay, so go ahead.
I was going to say, you've done that, which is really impressive. I've been watching you and what you've done, and you probably don't thrive on compliments the same way I do, but I feel I remember, when I sold you that program and what you've done with it, most people I talk to don't go away and do what you did. And I think a lot of it has to do with the bravery of letting go of needing to be in control of all of it and letting other people help you, which, to be honest, I have not managed to do the way you have. So I think that takes if I had a podcast, I'd be interviewing you about how you did that, because that just that's huge.
Thanks, man.
Control and surrendering, being in control to be, responsible for being a leader. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. But and then and sometimes people stab you in the back. Sometimes, I mean, like I said, it's really easy to get bitter sometimes, and I think all of us go through those periods. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, and this might go against what we just talked about, but I think if you guys hear it in the spirit in which I'm saying it, the way I look at it is, yes, it's my job to change people's lives, but it's also my job to build a machine that changes people's lives. It's where I've got people coming in that can do amazing work, really who are brilliant at what they do. And then it becomes a little bit more conducting an orchestra where I don't have to be the one who's it's not always the Russ show with my brilliance. Cause I'll bring in somebody that's better than me at sales, or my head mindset coach, Jane, she got certified by Tony Robbins when she was 13 because her mom worked for Tony. And she was like, Mommy, can I do the coach training? And Tony was like, sure, kid, go do the coach training, right? And she's 55 now. She's been doing nothing but mindset coaching at the highest level for 40 years. When you find someone like that, you turn them loose. I'm never going to be as good at you as this. Go do your thing.
Yes, and the reason you're able to attract that kind of talent is because of the work that you've done in the first place, right? Because people come to us all the time and they're like, I want an incredible closer. Find me somebody who's an incredible closer and I want to pay them on commission. And I'm like, great. Do you have a sales system? Do you have a lead generation system? Do you have the stuff in place that an incredible closer is just in there closing sales? No, you expect them to generate their own leads. You expect them to write the scripts, build the systems for you and close multi-millions in sales. That's going to be an issue, right? The reason you're able to attract that kind of talent is because you've done the work, you've mastered the shit yourself, right? You did it yourself, you know what to look for, and also talent respects talent, right? talent wants to be respected and it respects other talent. So, you know, when you're the way to attract those kind of people is you got to be good at what you do in the first place. They've got to identify you as being someone who really knows what they're talking about so that they feel respected in the work that they do. So like, yes, find those people who are amazing. Because, you know, I remember hearing Richard Branson say this. I find people who are better than me, like early in my career, I find people who are better than me and I just let them do the thing. And I would sit there and go, but where do I find these people? How do I get them? But the reality is those people didn't want to work for a punk 33-year-old kid who was making a few $100,000, right? And whose business wasn't particularly stable. Yeah, they wanted to work somewhere where they were respected, making good money, like were part of something, where there was a culture and they were a part of something with somebody they could trust to manage them well, right? I was not that person. So it's also a process of building that skill set within yourself by who you're being and what you're willing to take on and what you're willing to do. So the reason you've got that talent is like, yay, talent, but also it's because of the work you've done on yourself.
Thank you. That means a lot. All right, let me rapid fire at you, Gulliver, because I know we might be coming up on time here, right? Are we doing phone or are we doing Zoom?
I'm phone. I'm phone all the way.
Phone till you die.
Zoom is for delivery. Yeah. Zoom is for clients. Phone is for closing. Yeah, like I feel like I will do Zoom if they absolutely insist, but I am a vain man. I'm a very ugly man, but I'm a vain man. So I get distracted by looking at myself and do I look pretty? And like, I just,
yeah, I do. Yeah.
I want to give I hate video, but like I'll do it if it's necessary like this. But, I find it really distracting. I would way rather just completely give myself to that person and hear them and listen to them. And because I'm an auditory too, I have that bias.
Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. We started out with phone. We switched over to Zoom, and it didn't make any meaningful difference in the conversions at all. You know,
I feel like most people too, if you say, hey, can we do this as a phone call? They're like, oh yes, thank you. Because everybody's on Zoom all day, right? So I think a lot of the time people are really relieved when you propose phone.
Yeah, totally. Okay, that's a great. So phone. Show up rates. What are you guys doing? Have you seen a drop in show up rates when people book calls? And if so, what do you do to overcome that?
I don't book calls. I just call people and get them talking and close them. So okay. I don't kind of have an appointment.
You don't have like a funnel where you have people booking. So okay, great.
People put in the details for an asset, like Leela will throw up a report.
Right.
We'll call that person and say, hey, you downloaded this report, and they'll go, I don't remember doing that, and I'll go, no, you actually did, and this is why, and they're like, oh yeah, actually that was me, and then I'll close them into something on that call. Like I don't have a fancy funnel. No.
So you have them opting in, and then you're just like you're not even doing setting. You're just calling them up and then closing them.
I just found setting was just a lot of around and a lot of money spent, a lot of time spent training people to get not the greatest result. Like that was my perspective of it anyway. I was putting that's in between.
It's just it's all the stuff, right? It's like appointment setters and like all of those bits and pieces are predominantly ways for people to use their sales fear as an excuse to not do what just needs to be done.
In the early stages anyway. Like I'm sure it can be used effectively. It's just I just don't have that. I'm just bare knuckling calling them.
Yeah, there's a point where it becomes valuable, but
I would love if every person I talked to had watched 40 minutes of Leela being amazing and booked a call and showed up at 80%, but I just call them.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then one call close or two call close?
One call close to a deposit at the very least. If they're not giving me a credit card on the first call, I'm not sure whether they're going to be a customer. If you can spend 90 minutes on a call with me and I can drop bombs on you and you don't put down $1,000, then you're not probably my customer.
So if they put, because I remember way back in the day, you were doing the initial call, you were taking a deposit, and then they would talk to Leela, and then Leela, is that still the strategy? Or
Leela's completely insulated now.
Leela's doing witchcraft and God knows what. She can't
other businesses.
No, so I'll either put them into a mastermind or into an event on the first call. If it's a larger engagement, like at a company the other day where it was going to be like a $6,000 half day plus, then some sort of ongoing, $10,000 a month sales training on the back end of that. On that call, I had to sit down with the 3 managers and sell them all on a Zoom, because I got the owner, and the owner's like, can you sell my boys on this, because I want to make sure they're all on the same page. Chet Holmes, Circle the Dragon, influence everybody you can. Yes, in that sort of situation, I'll do a second call. But if it's just some coach who's making $100,000 who wants to make $1 million, it's like, come on, dude, come to the event. Like,
Yeah. Are you still teaching my favorite thing that you teach, which is, you know what it is? The armor of God.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay. That thing is so, and I've been in other people's sales training over the years, and I've heard so many people make reference to it. That, hey, there's this guy Gulliver, and he teaches this really cool thing, and it's like, I think that thing has really spread like wildfire. Oh
man, that makes me feel really good. If you ever want me to do a training for your guys, for your team, for free on that, I'll do a Zoom with all of them.
I would love that. I think it's just so great, because it's like, look, you can memorize like all your cute little responses, like, okay, if they say the spouse objection, then you say this, and if they say this, then they say that, and here's your conversation tree, and blah blah blah. And it's like, I look at that as just like pickup lines. Like, you go up to her at the bar and you say hello, and if she says F off, you say, well, really? And then you say, well, can I get you, and it's like, okay, this is so stupid, right? Yeah. With Armor of God, you've got something that is basically
systemic,
for all intents and purposes, a universal objection handling sequence, which is so powerful.
I thought it was very clever when I produced it. Yes.
I remember the day he created it, we were running a residential, and he came in and he's like, Leela, I figured something out. Like, what I do when I handle an objection, there's a system behind it, and it's the same every time. And it's like this, and this. I don't think at that point I'd ever seen anybody. People would give you like objection handling books and Bibles and stuff. But at that point, I don't think I'd ever seen anybody have like a system that was contextual rather than content driven, right?
Yes.
You active listening, you do this. Like, these are the pieces of it. And I was like, oh, like we were both straight away. We were like, "Oh, this is a thing." And it's
well, and you gave it a cool name, which I think is so important. You gave it a badass name, so it's easy to remember. It's not like, oh, this is Gulliver's wonderful objection handling sequence. No, it's the fucking armor of God, dude.
The armor of God. Like, it sounds cool because like we're both martial artists, and it was a Jackie Chan movie where, like, it started off being about the armor of God, and then it just went into Jackie Chan hitting people with chairs and shit. So like, it sounded cool, but then I realized it's actually a scripture thing too. But anyway, that's like, my Christian friends will tell me that's a verse from something, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. But yeah, it helps make it really simple for people to understand how to deal with what is ordinarily that fight, flight, freeze moment when someone says, I don't want to do it because of X. Okay, what are you going to do now? Right. Well, I hear what you're saying, and it sounds a lot like you're feeling like this. Is that correct? And then you got somewhere to go. And then it becomes like, it stops being a script, and it becomes just like an embodiment, and it comes out naturally, and they find themselves doing it with their children. And
Gulliver does it to me.
She says, shut the fuck up, stop acting, don't you active listen me, motherfucker. I'm yelling at you about something, you fucked up.
Active listen me.
So what I hear you saying is...
Well, don't ever say that to Leela, because she's not giving it again.
Don't objection handle me.
No,
so that's the problem. She knows all your tricks, man. She's wise to you.
This is one of the drawbacks of 20 years together. Yes,
he literally used his sales script as our marriage vows.
That is so funny.
It was pretty.
That's cute. Amazing. That's incredible. Well, guys, this has been amazing. So great. Digging in, learning from you guys. Gulliver, I would love to. I mean, honestly, I would love if we did like another one where like, just teach just walk people through Armor of God, because it's so powerful. Yeah. And so if people want to learn some of this stuff from you guys, where should we send them? Where do you want them to go?
Gosh, I mean, just hit me up on Facebook. I'm on there all fucking time. If you look for, was it facebook.com/Sales Warlord?
Yeah,
we'll put it in the description of the video. And if you guys want to hit up Gulliver to get some really amazing high ticket sales training that has stood the test of time and been proven for like a decade now, it's a great place to learn.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right, superstars, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Gulliver, Leela, thank you guys so much. You guys are absolute rock stars, and I will catch you guys on the next video.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for having us.